They're engaging in communicating a threat while they're exhibiting demon possession, pacing all around in the engineered light, while Holiday Inn provides an ongoing criminal basis of facilitation. And then walking in opposite directions, and they have multiple shadows on both sides of their person. Moving across the truck and moving on the ground. Impossible light activity, walking in opposite directions, that's the pacing. Satan is using all of their bodies together to accomplish the demonic pacing. Psychopathic conduct, the mental illness is designed to be concealed, and it's not. Impossible light activity occurs in my room while demons are driving by in the parking lot, meaning flashing of light, which you saw the LAPD engage in. It's heavily documented in my apartment in Los Angeles. It's heavily documented while the people of the state are group stalking in traffic. It's heavily documented when I go to the DMV. And when I go to any venue, in impossible light activity, as impossible as this, all right, you've seen dynamic flashing of light activity. This is what the entity is doing, group stalking in this environment, walking with shadows in front and behind. That's group stalking. The shadow in front, and now it's to the side and behind, running across the truck and in front, having nothing to do with the street lamp. And monitoring on my phone, a psychopath is group stalking while coming to cross path with me and engineer light while they are engaging what is a method of group stalking. And you're supposed to believe that they're ignorant because they're relieving themselves. And you're understanding what is the elements of group stalking. So doing so in the most vulgar and in the most perverted manner to engage in group stalking with double shadows, okay, with light activity, with the inexplicable use and criminal misuse of the smoke alarm system to group stalk with the state. Because a bunch of demons are hostile to me, letting you know about their code of conduct, about the environment that you're paying attention to. It's not just the fact that they're in the environment, it's their behavior, which is exhibiting demon possession, stalking with activity creation, molesting and crossing path in the with the impossible light activity. The ongoing criminal conduct is achieving group stalking. Their shadows go from being in front of their person and behind to this being perpendicular, being in front and to the side. That's group stalking while they're pacing all around. All right, so I want to make sure that you're aware of this. This is called the specific environment, and this is where the fake sun rises and sets. And there's no way that the sun is going to be over the SoFi Stadium, which is what I captured on the news. As I begin capturing that video, the entity begins using the alarm inside of the hotel room. And this alarm was also used during a hailstorm yesterday, where there is no fire, no smoke. The only emergency is the fact that I'm documenting the pattern of conduct, which when you're engaged in corporate invasion of privacy, federal stalking, when you are a hostile entity, a demon-possessed one that's hostile to its exposure and its criminal prosecution, which is inevitable, the entity engages in such acts of terrorism and harassment, because that's what the use of the smoke alarm equals, while they're group stalking with the state. And this is the highest threat. CAL FIRE engaging in what is the misuse, abuse of authority under the Welfare and Institutions Code. This is reasonably construed of a threat to engage in what is kidnapping. And this is what the ordinary target individual is subject to while they're group stalking literally with the people of the state. This is a demon in the background, a group stalking on the opposite side of the brick wall. The entity is engaging in what is elements of monitoring with the people of the state, and also facilitating it by using the smoke alarm inside of the building, okay? Remember what the smoke alarm equals: light activity and massive amplified audible activity, which a whole population is group stalking to. They're all group stalking to that, all right? So this is a demon that's using their headlights. They're walking in front. This is demonic. That's a demon, and they're group stalking together. Okay, so recall the documentation when you saw the homeless demons that were concentrating presence in the front, and they were walking by with the flashlight, walking by with the cell phone, which was another method of light. And as I pointed that out, with simultaneity, a demon driving in the driveway, which is still alignment in the path, and the flashing of light. It's occurring in the specific environment. It's occurring where you're also seeing the sun rising and setting. This is what CAL FIRE is exhibiting right now while they're group stalking with the people of the state. They're all engaged in what is method of light activity. It's occurring inside of this hotel. They're pacing all around. They're creating light activity while their shadows are on both sides of their person, and the people of the state who are group stalking using a flashlight, using their headlights, walking through that light that they're creating light activity. They're group stalking together. So I just want to point that out. But this is the entity that is engaging, exhibiting demon possession, and that is a legally disqualification. Understanding what demon possession is and the criminal conduct of the demon possessed, it is a legal basis for disqualification from fire departments, from police departments, from sheriff's departments. The demon possessed are domestic terrorists. They are engaged in Satan's surveillance system, and it is legally relevant that the government is employing demonic methods of criminal surveillance. And this is exactly what CAL FIRE is engaging in with the people of the state, who is a Holiday Inn, not a legitimate business. Okay. And while this demon is moving, the shadow is against the brick wall, and also the shadow is on the wall, moving from side to side. Remember, on his right side along the brick wall, while he walks by the truck, it is then on the opposite side of his person to appear on the side of that truck. That's light activity, and impossible light activity has nothing to do with the street lamps. Okay, just like the light activity inside of my room has nothing to do with the street lamps. They're engaging in what is demonic pacing and light activity creation while they walk around vehicles, and they're group stalking while I'm physically indisposed in my bed using my cell phone, I happen to be capturing evidence, and the entity immediately begins sounding the alarm. Repeatedly sounding the alarm is repeated acts of criminal conduct, not the creation of any legitimate emergency which doesn't exist in the specific environment. The entity, as you see the state group stalking, are the malicious guise under which the elements of monitoring are always continuous. Okay, and they engage in abusing such devices such as the alarm system to show what is knowledge about what the entity is doing on a communication device while it's group stalking you and surveilling you. It's evidence against the entity that's group stalking, engaging in criminal summoning with the demons who are the people of the state who are group stalking you. And these are psychopaths, and all they're doing is pacing around, having multiple shadows and doing so. Shadows that are appearing and disappearing when they're walking around, appearing in front of them and then appearing behind them, appearing on the side of them. You're watching them change in size. This is the light activity you're paying attention to, and their demonic behaviors. The simultaneity of conduct. The group stalking of the people of the state is the group stalking of the state. Cal Fire literally just came here and demonstrated it for you. Okay? It is again 4:51 a.m. and the entity is group stalking in this specific environment, and my cell phone turning on and off, capturing more than one video, is the product of criminal activity, not a malfunction of my phone, which again, the state is also going to be prosecuted for. All right, remember, I'm advocating and speaking on behalf of the ordinary target individual who is subject to this level of criminal activity. The entity is going above and beyond with regard to the ordinary target individual as well, which I have been subject to: harassment by the entity, criminal summoning by the entity, false allegations by the entity, because they're psychopaths and sex offenders who don't want you to expose the fact that they're psychopaths and sex offenders, which is the product of a psychopath and a sex offender. And you're looking at a psychopath that's pacing. And you know that it's pacing because of the engineered light, because of the multiple shadows, and because of the fact that this is where the fake sun rises and sets. This is what demons are doing, pacing. And you can see that shadow in front, to the side, but three of them all around this person. And they're walking back and forth. That's pacing. That's how you're recognizing that. And the shadows disappeared. Now there's just one. That has nothing with the street lamps. And the street lamps are not the explanation for this demonic light activity inside of my room. And again, while the demons who are the people of the state are driving in the parking lot, all right, they're engaging in group stalking together, which is what 76 is engaged in criminal facilitation. So I want to reiterate this because my video turning on and off, my restarting the video, while I'm pointing out very damning evidence regarding the behaviors, for your information, regarding the behaviors of demons. It's their demonic behavior in the demonic environment, and you're able to recognize demon possession. Okay, because I am in the demonic environment, I'm pointing out to you what is humanly, naturally impossible to occur. A sunrise and a sunset at the same address, and multiple shadows surrounding your person under what's supposed to be just a normal light. You could buy it from any grocery store, or Lowe's, Walmart, wherever you special order. Light does not create this light activity. It doesn't create your shadow in the shade. It doesn't create your upright shadow at a distance away from you. Let me show you this up close. So you can, that it doesn't create this light activity while I'm also inside of the building, looking at the source, the so-called source of light. That's not the source of light. You're looking at what Satan is doing in an environment amongst Satan's demons who are group stalking you. And the integral aspect of group stalking is engineered light, and Satan seeks to hide himself in the environment and amongst people who are demon possessed, who are stalking you, group stalking you in that unengineered environment. You're recognizing the demonic behavioral patterns, the stalking with activity, whatever the means of that stalking with activity is. For instance, the smoke alarm is a means of stalking with activity. The moment I begin recording video of what is the light source over SoFi Stadium in LA, immediately the smoke alarm goes off. And this is where the fake sun is rising and setting. That is 12 plus hours of a light source, which is not the sun. And this is also the demonic behaviors. And you can see the impossible light activity while these same demons are group stalking in the parking lot while I was in their presence physically. They are group stalking me while I'm inside of the hotel room, and you're looking at the impossible light activity. All right, and they maintain, I also want to point out the fact that that's a vulgar aspect of the pattern of conduct, showing you what are desperate acts and what is also psychotic and very disturbing and perverted. Demon that's group stalking goes to the extent to cross path and get in alignment with me, group stalking, with the rest of the people, pulling out his genitalia to engage in group stalking. It's not about relieving himself. That was a demon that was group stalking, doing so in the most vulgar manner, which the entity, again, Satan is thinking in its mind that that's something that suggests ignorance about being on tape, which is supposed to suggest that they're not group stalking. And that's not what controls the evidence and prosecuting group stalking. It's controlled by the specific environment. All right, and there's nothing about the light activity while they're pacing all around, because that's what that is. It's not walking, they're pacing with multiple shadows. They're pacing while the elements of monitoring are maintained by the people of the state. They're pacing while flashing engineered light is occurring. You've also seen it during the day under the fake sun. It's what's occurring at night while demons that are the people of the state are group stalking with them, turning on their headlights, walking around with the flashlight in the specific environment is the people of the state group stalking with them, and using the smoke alarm is the basis of federal prosecution.